If we do not win these two projects, we're finished. Okay, there's no more money. They say that working here is like working in another job for 50 years and cramming it into 2 years. So the amazing part of Buzzybee now, what we do is we enable this all to happen, and without the end consumer actually knowing it's us. And that's the amazing thing we do. พร้อมไหม สวัสดีครับ My name is Michael Chen. I'm the CEO and founder of BUZZEBEES. We are a leading tech company founded in Thailand in 2012. We are the #1 CRM platform in Southeast Asia today. What did I do before BUZZEBEES? Well, when I was young, which was a long time ago, I was in New Zealand and I worked in KPMG Consulting. I graduated in engineering actually and ended up doing IT because actually in New Zealand you don't get paid very well for doing engineering actually. So and then I decided to do IT and work in the IT field for about 3-4 years, and then eventually I got sent here to Thailand to work on Orange Mobile, and that's how I ended up here in Thailand. After that, I started my own company together with Pink, and we called that company Innovative Concepts. And that company was started because of September 11th. If you remember back when the world trade was hit by the airplane, there was a demand for fingerprint capturing. And for iConcept, we built a FBI certified finger capturing system. And then we later on sold that to the customers in Thailand, like immigration department. You know, since young, I love doing entrepreneur business. I always made my own money when I was growing up, and I always could do my own business. So I thought this was a great opportunity for me to see how good I am at building a business. And so when I came here to Thailand and moved here permanently, as I mentioned that we have a company called iConcept. So the opportunity of being an entrepreneur allowed me to use my skill set and my creative thinking. And I think that is the key to building a successful business. At the heart and soul of Buzzybee, we are a CRM and a rewards platform, an e-commerce platform. If I were to explain Buzzybee business to an employee or to a family member, how can we describe Buzzybee in its simplest form? I think the best way to describe Buzzybee is not about trying to explain to you what Buzzybee is doing. I think that's actually quite complicated. I think the easiest way to explain people about Buzzybee is giving you an analogy of what Buzzybee does. Okay, imagine Buzzybee is the roads that are building and that you drive on every day. Okay, and the houses and buildings are the destinations that you're trying to get to on these roads. So in Buzzybee, the houses and the buildings are basically the businesses and our customers who use our system. So imagine you're trying to do digital transactions without having a infrastructure in place. So imagine driving from your house to your office with no roads, right? How is that possible? So in the digital world, if you're trying to do business from one business to another and there's nothing connecting it together, then a business is basically impossible to work together. So what Buzzybee does is that we build the roads that connect your house to your buildings, your offices. And we do that for building an entire city or an entire country. And I think that's the best analogy that we can give you about what we do. Give an example of a typical day in the life of a person who uses Buzzybee. Because we are not industry specific, we can do CRM for every industry, for example, everything from telco to banking to insurance to FMCGs to retail to malls. So in the life of a consumer, how they interact with Buzzybee. You imagine you wake up in the morning and you check your phone. Right? And you decide to check your mobile banking and do some point redemption. Everything you use along the way, it's all connected to Buzzybee somehow, some way. Right? You drive in your car and you go fill up your gas on the way to work, and the gas station is using our system. At lunch, you buy food from online, you order a burger. The food that's delivered is also using our system. On the way back home, you decide to stop by the convenience store and you decide to buy something at the convenience store to earn loyalty rewards. That also involves Buzzybee. In the evening, you drive home and you get home, you decide to order something online through Lazada or Shopee and so forth. We also provide the e-commerce service that enables that. Before you go to bed, you decide to maybe look at your insurance policies to see how everything's going. So that also using our platform to do that. So Buzzybee is involved in your life in some form or another without you knowing it. So the amazing part of Buzzybee now, what we do is we enable this all to happen and without the end consumer actually knowing it's us. And that's the amazing thing we do. Why did the name Buzzybee? Why I named Buzzybee and where did it come from? So as you may know, I grew up in New Zealand. Most of my behavior and my upbringing was influenced by the New Zealand culture. Okay. In case you didn't know, New Zealand, when I first went to New Zealand, we had a population of 2 million people only. And the amazing thing that the New Zealand people teach you is to be very versatile. Think outside the box. Don't be afraid of the bigger people. You can always beat them if you work hard enough. So that culture and mentality of David versus Goliath, where we're never going to lose to even the bigger people. And that mentality of no matter what, we will win and we will come out on top. I think that is the fundamental of what Buzzybee does. And where did that name come from? Actually, this is a toy that's from New Zealand. It's actually a New Zealand icon. It's called Buzzebees. So you may ask, well, why did I choose this name and why did this name come about? Well, because New Zealand has this culture of creativity, ingenuity, and every time they do something that beats the world stage and beats everybody who is much bigger, they always have this icon as a representative of New Zealand. So I decided that if I'm going to build Buzzybees and make it successful, to do what everybody said was impossible, I thought that this toy would represent that. And this will keep me driving forward to make sure that reminds me every day that don't be scared of what other people says is impossible to do, and think outside the box, be creative, and be successful in what we do. What is the most challenging project we've worked on? Let me tell you a little story. I remember doing Buzzybee for the first year. And I remember I spoke to Pink, my wife, and we said, look, we're building this application, and it was a great success. We got, if you think back 10 years ago in 2012, we had 200,000 users in the space of 1 month. Okay, that was a huge thing back then. The problem was that once you got the users on the platform, there's nothing there to keep them there. So we invested, 2 years of development into Buzzybee at that stage, and with no customers. Okay, and myself and Pink, we were running out of money. We didn't know how to fund even the payroll. And I remember asking my wife that if we don't get any customers soon, I think we better just go back to doing innovative concept and focusing on our immigration department projects. And I remember that it was the month before we run out of money. And we had a phone call from AIS and Samsung. And basically, they were interested in our platform. We had previously spoken to them before. And basically, we said that, look, if we do not win these 2 projects, we're finished. Okay, there's no more money. So I spoke to my team, and at that time, I remember clearly, and I said, look, guys, we have to give it 120%. This is it. Either we succeed now or we will die. So guys, we need to make sure we finish the finished product, and walk into the customer demonstration, presentation with the working product. So I remember we worked day and night. And in a space of 1 week, we delivered a finished product for both AIS and Samsung at the time. And we went into the presentation, and we said, here's our platform. Here's what we can do for you. And by the way, here's the product done for you already. So with these 2 first customers, that allowed Buzzybee to continue. And from there, we continue to thrive and grow to where we are today. So I think that is the most challenging project we ever worked on in a very short space of time. What specific value are we looking for when we hire someone in BUZZEBEES? First of all, I think it's important that people working here are good-natured, okay? If you're not a good-natured person, it's very hard to be here. I think secondly is that you have to have empathy for others, right? Which means that you have to understand the other person's point of view. Whether that other person is a colleague or that other person is a customer, right? So I think it's important to have that understanding because we're in a service business. And if we don't have that empathy for others, then we will fail as a business. And I think the can-do attitude of never giving up, never saying something is impossible to do, and that hunger to be successful, that drive for us to be the world leaders in something we do. I think that is what we're looking for. I think the one comment people would always say about me when they meet me for the first time after they hear about BUZZEBEE is that I have a lot of passion. Without passion, we don't know what we're living our life for. That passion may not be to a specific business. That passion may be to do with what you are doing, right? To be the best at what you do. Whether that is a development, whether you're a project manager, whether you're a salesperson, whatever role you're doing in the company, if you have the passion and energy and the drive and the can-do attitude, that is the kind of person we're looking for. If someone wanted to join this company, how should they expect to work to be like? And what should they be prepared for? Well, working here, as many of my previous employees have told me, or current employees have told me, who've been with me for a long time, they say that working here is like working in another job for 50 years and cramming it into 2 years. Okay? So what that means is, one, we have to learn fast, we have to work fast, we have to grow fast, we have to do everything fast. Okay? And the only way you can do that is that you have to constantly adapt. Okay? So if you want to come work here and you want to do something that will never change, then this is not the place for you, right? If you want something that's always seems impossible and you love that feel of that challenge, then this is the place for you, right? So if you want to be successful in life, my belief is that there's nothing that's easy in life that comes easily, and if you want to be successful, right? So therefore, challenging, constantly changing, constantly improving, extremely fast and hardworking, that's what kind of person you would be as an employee here. And that would be an environment you're constantly under working here. I have to be honest, it's not the easiest environment, but I will guarantee you, you will learn more here in 1 year than you will learn in multiple years and anywhere else. Where do you see BUZZEBEE in 3 years' time? And what is BUZZEBEE's ultimate goal? Okay, just imagine that in 3 years' time, we have this conversation. And imagine every time you turn on your phone, and everything you do on your phone will run through BUZZEBEE in the backend systems. That is what we're talking about. That ecosystem which we build in the next 3 years is the ultimate goal of what we're trying to achieve in BUZZEBEES. It doesn't matter whether it's payment, commerce, rewards, loyalty, everything will run off our ecosystem. So to build that ecosystem, we need to do is grow in all the Southeast Asian countries and if not, rest of the world. And within the next 3 years, we will be the largest ecosystem. And everything we do will be working towards that goal. How close are we to that goal? Well, I would say we're about halfway there. And as I say in life, the first 90% of whatever you do is the easiest. The last 10% will take more effort than the first 90%. So I think with everything we do, we have to work towards that goal and make sure that the last 10%, we have the effort to be able to push that through. So in technology world, you're either 0 or you're 1, right? And if you can get from 0 to 1, You're either the hero or the zero. That's how the business works. So together with our customers and everybody, we can make that happen. I believe strongly in three things in life. All right. One, you need to make enough money to look after your family and friends. Two, you need to be successful and be happy with what you have achieved in your career. Right? That might be salary, it might be title, it might be whatever you're trying to achieve in your career. So once you have achieved one and two, the last and third item is how to help others. So in my life, I believe I've achieved everything I need to do one and two already. So my goal now is to do the third, is to how to help as many people as how to help my employees to achieve everything they want in life, and how to help my customer grow their business and what they're aiming for. I grew up in a very different environment than that I live in now. I was born in Taiwan, grew up in US and moved to New Zealand, and then ultimately landed here in Thailand. When I was growing up in the US, my family, we were from a very humble background, I would say, and we didn't have a lot of money. So when you don't have a lot of money in life, and you don't have a lot of things in life, you actually tend to be very conservative in everything you do, and fearful of everything you do, and always wanting to try to be successful, but always pushing yourself to survive, right? So I think that the one thing that that changed my life was learning to give, even when you had nothing to give. All right, and because when you give to others, what that happens is that others will eventually give back. And when you have nothing to give, that is the true representation of yourself. And people can see through that. And then people can see that the genuine energy that you're trying to give others. And when you have nothing left to give, you're still giving. And I think that one thing in life is the most important thing that will ultimately lead you to success. Because if you're a billionaire and you have money to burn, and you're giving away $100, $1,000, even $1 million, that doesn't mean much, right? But when you have $1 and you have to give away 50 cents of that to someone else, all right, that is the definition of what will make you successful in life. So I think the feeling of giving to others when you have nothing to give, I think that is the most important thing. And I think that's the one advice I would always give others.